Themes and toning make any form of media, and if they aren't good enough, the entire show crumbles beneath them. So why is Cowboy Bebop so good and able to stand the test of time? But that's what I'm here today to discuss. I'm Takikuran, and welcome to the theming of Cowboy Bebop.
Huh?
You sing off key.
The importance of using a theme in an entertainment medium is incompromisable. The theme is the underlying idea a person is trying to convey to the audience. A story without major ideas for the character and reader to experience, think through, and learn from is not a story at all. A story by its very nature must have a theme, sometimes many major and minor themes, all throughout. In Cowboy Bebop, the minor theme is consequence and having to deal with the actions you make, and the major theme is regret, and having to face that regret as a form of self-betterment. I'll explain what these mean later on, but now I'll briefly explain what role regret and consequence has to play in the narrative of Cowboy Bebop. Starting with regret. Regret in Cowboy Bebop is shown in obvious and subtle ways, both used to build dramatic tones and bring that oddly depressing sense of realism to the plot, which is used to great effect especially in this story. Subtle cases of regret are when a character, usually Spike but sometimes Faye, do a decisive action and then later come to realise that it wasn't the best but most suitable action at the time, and so they regret what they did, but it isn't blatantly shown to us. And this use of show but don't tell just makes us sympathetic and in a few cases even empathetic for the crew of the Bebop.
Now, blatant regret is when a character outright feels ashamed of their actions and has to painfully accept the consequences, wishing they had done the other thing or a billion other factors. Characters usually, when expressing blatant regret, take that anger out on something or leave the place they were at to try and escape this regret, but they end up getting chased or they end up falling into more regret, and eventually they come to a realization that they must accept this and move on. But characters are so human and so full of denial that their natural human instinct is to deny and keep chasing after the thing that's caused them regret in the first place. The natural human instinct is to keep chasing what has caused this regret. So they would be in denial, they would sack everything off and try and act like it never happened. And this then leads on to the other theme, consequence. Consequence in Cowboy Bebop is astronomical and one of the foundations of the series. As with every conflict, the main cast has, consequence follows. Every time Spike tries to confront the main villain, Vicious, consequence follows his actions. He's shown the consequences of his actions, whether it's being too hasty by not being mentally prepared, or rushing into conflict while in a slightly debilitated state. Every time this happens, it almost results in him dying. And sometimes the regret and consequences Spike has to deal with is a fate worse than death itself. That's actually a good way to summarise the series. Every major plot point, every major thing results in a fate worse than death itself.
Whether this be that the characters through pain and struggle, and even desperation at times, overcome this, and this series comes to a crescendo in episode 26 with Spike eventually defeating Vicious, but also himself, as the consequences are too much, and the regret is inhumane, but he's put to rest, fulfilled that the regret he did have has been quelled at last.
So, how did you find the video? Let me know in the comments below, and one day I'll discuss the regret of each character in Cowboy Bebop. But apart from that, like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and thank you so much for watching.